Hey, how's it going everyone? Molweni, sanibonani, dumelang, velkomila. Welcome to the first beginner class in the Power Tribe Yoga Lockdown Vinyasa Flow series. We're going to begin this class lying on our backs with our knees bent, our feet flat on the floor, and our hands on top of our tummies. Getting into our breathing here, engaging our yogic belly breath. As we breathe in, feeling the belly button expand and push into the hands, and on the exhale as we breathe out, feeling the belly button draw towards the spine that's pressed against the mat. Just taking your time here, gently breathing through your nose, feeling your way into your body, stopping and taking it down before we begin. Breathing in through your nose, filling your belly like a nice big balloon, and breathing out. Your navel pulling towards your spine. Very conscious here as we begin. This class is going to be nice and slow. If you've never done yoga before, please feel free to take this at your own pace. If you have done yoga before, enjoy this nice, slow, very intentional class with us today. As we inhale, we're going to grab the right knee with both hands, keeping the left foot flat on the floor. And as we exhale, round up, drawing the knee to the forehead. Inhale, back down. Exhale, repeat. Drawing your forehead to your knee, very consciously matching our movement with our breath. And exhale the final time, using your core, coming up into a little ball, touching if you can your forehead to your knee. Inhaling, putting the right foot flat on the floor next to the left. Scooting your hips over to the right side of your mat and letting your legs fall over to the left side. Taking your right arm into a T shape alongside your body and looking if you can over your right shoulder. Just getting a nice gentle twist into our back, into our lower spine. Very consciously breathing into that space while you're here. Feeling the lower back expand with your breath. Very intentionally bringing our awareness into the space. Then looking up, coming back to center. Let's shift over to the other side. Taking your left knee with both hands, keeping your right foot flat on the floor. Inhale here, and as you exhale, draw your knee to your forehead, making sure to keep your lower back pressed to the mat underneath you. Inhale back, and exhaling through your nose, touching your knee to your forehead. Last time here, inhale back down, sucking your belly button towards your spine. Exhale, touch your forehead to your knee. Inhale, place your left foot flat next to your right. Scoot your hips over to the left of your mat and let your legs fall over to the right side, extending your left arm into a T shape alongside your body, either looking up straight towards the ceiling or the sky, or if it's comfortable for your neck, looking over your left shoulder, completing the twist into your back. Nice, gentle, very conscious awareness in our breathing. As we quietly breathe, we send our attention into the space that we're thinking of. So imagine breathing into that space in your lower back, filling it up with air. Looking up, returning to center. Take a nice big inhale here, and as you exhale, extend both legs out in front of you. Just feel into your body here as you're lying flat on your back, your legs extended out in front of you. And as you breathe in now, you're going to raise your arms up and over your head, inhaling the whole time, touching your hands on the floor behind you if you can, and on your exhale, returning your hands back over your head alongside your body. Now let's try slow this down, inhaling and exhaling for an 8 count if possible, inhaling only through your nose, at your own pace, raising your arms up and over behind your head, matching our movement with our breath. Our movement is always in service of the breath. And very controlled, remembering your yogic belly breath as you exhale, reversing the movement, bringing your arms back alongside your body. Let's repeat that one more time. Feeling free to close your eyes if that helps you. Inhaling, arms up and over behind your head. Feeling your stomach expand as you fill it with air. And on the exhale, slowly returning your arms alongside your body as you feel your belly button draw towards your spine. Return to normal breathing here. Bending your knees, inhaling your feet flat on the floor. Let's take both knees in towards our chest, holding them with both hands, and slowly rock from side to side, giving our lower back a gentle little massage. And when you're ready, start making some circles with your knees. You can begin drawing small circles and slowly increase to larger circles. Inhaling one circle, exhaling the next. Just bringing some mobility into our hips. Shifting to the other direction now. Still circling your hips, circling your knees, feeling the pressure of the ground beneath you into the muscles of your lower back, into your organs. Placing your right foot flat on the floor, followed by your left. On your next inhale, extend your right leg to the sky, the sole of your foot flat up towards the sky or the ceiling. Grab the back of your thigh with both hands and extend your leg. On your inhale, flex your foot. As you exhale, point your toes up toward the sky. Inhale, flex. Exhale, point. One more time like that. Inhaling, flexing your foot. Exhaling, pointing the toes towards the sky. Now let's make some circles with the ankle, making sure to keep your hips stable. Inhaling, circling the one way. And exhaling, changing direction, bringing some mobility into your ankles. You can even feel the energy into your toes. Try and spread your toes apart, create some space between each toe. Inhale your right foot down, cross your right knee over your left knee, scoot your hips over to the right of your mat and let your legs flop over to the left side. Extending your right arm into a T shape and looking over your right shoulder if that's comfortable for your neck. Getting a little bit deeper this time into the stretch into the lower back. Feeling your back body expand as you breathe into it. That's what we're doing here, just creating some space before we begin this class. On your next inhale, look up toward the sky, bring your legs back to center, and let's repeat all that on the other side. Both feet flat on the floor. Inhaling your left leg up now, extending it straight up, your toes pointed towards your face. And inhale now, flexing your toes, and exhale, point. Inhale, flex your toes, and exhale, point. Strong in our thigh, activating the muscles in our legs. Inhale, flex, and exhale, point. Making some circles now with our ankle, as best as we can, keeping our hips steady beneath us. Rotating that ankle in one direction as you inhale, and on your exhale, feeling free to change direction, rotating it over the other side. Sending your energy, sending your attention into your toes, spreading them out. Waking up your feet now. Waking up your toes. Inhale here, and as you exhale, bend the knee, cross your left knee over your right knee, scoot your hips over to the left, and let your legs flop over to the right side. Turning your head to the left, looking over your left shoulder if that's comfortable for you. Going a little bit deeper into our lower back stretch on this side. If it's comfortable for you, you can use your right hand on your knee to gently pull down a little more, but always sure to keep your left shoulder firm on the ground. We don't want our shoulder coming off the ground in this position. Looking up toward the sky, inhaling your legs back up to the center, placing both feet flat on the ground, both palms flat on the ground alongside your body. Feel the effect of that warm-up on your body, and when you're ready, come over onto your right side into the fetal position, and gently press yourself up to come seated cross-legged at the front of your mat. Hands on your knees. We're going to work now to bring some mobility into the spine, working on flexing and extending the spine. So on your next inhale, open up your chest, look up toward the sky, and create a little bit of an arch in your lower back. As you exhale, reverse that motion. So look towards your belly button, round your spine as you draw your belly button back and in. Inhale, opening up the chest, arcing the spine, looking up. Exhale, rounding the spine, looking toward the belly button, keeping both sit bones on the floor. One more time. Feeling the mobility in the spine, feeling each vertebra stack one on top of the other. Exhale, round the spine, and inhale back to a neutral position. We're going to do some hip circles now, bringing a little bit more mobility into the hips. So with your hands still on your knees, almost like you're drawing around a clock face. Begin by leaning forward and then slowly shift over onto your left, rotating toward the back, and then coming over to your right side, drawing very gentle, very slow, very intentional circles with your hips. Your hands on your knees, both sitting bones on the floor. Feeling into your hips at the start of the class. Where do they feel free? Where do they feel a little bit more stuck? Spend some time in those stuck places. Give them a little bit more love. Back to the center, and let's switch direction. Making circles going the other way now. I find keeping my eyes closed often helps me to just feel a little bit more into those spaces in my body that I'm not usually aware of, that I don't usually pay conscious attention to. And that's exactly what this practice is about. Aligning our movement with our breath, consciously feeling our way into our bodies. And coming back to the center. Inhale both arms alongside your body and up, looking up towards your hand. And as you exhale, bring your right palm down alongside your right hip. Extend your left arm up and over your left ear. Inhale here, getting length in your left side body. And as you exhale, sinking a little deeper, stretching into your left side body. Your left sit bone still grounded on the floor. Nice gentle stretch here. And on your next inhale, raise both arms up to the sky. And let's exhale over to the other side. So left palm comes down next to your left thigh. Your right arm comes up and over, extending past your right ear. As you inhale, you get nice and long. Stretch out of your shoulder, creating a nice straight line between your shoulder and your fingers. And as you exhale, sink a little bit deeper, keeping both sit bones on the floor. Stretching into that right side body, feeling the space between the ribs open up. And inhale, both arms up, back to center. And exhale, hands through heart center. Taking both arms behind you now, we want to get the pinky fingers to touch behind you. And as we inhale, we're going to put pressure into our hands and open up our chest. So opening up the heart space, putting pressure into the hands, opening up the heart space as we slightly arch the back and look up, working to draw the shoulder blades back towards each other. Almost like you could get your shoulder blades to touch behind you, or like you're trying to get your elbows to touch behind you. Inhale, dropping your head further back if that's comfortable for your neck, opening up the space in your throat here as well. And as you exhale, returning to a central position, your hands alongside your body. Inhaling both arms up and over your head, looking up towards your fingertips. And now crossing our arms into eagle arms. So our right arm comes underneath our left arm, our right elbow underneath our left elbow. And if you can, touching the fingers together. If this is not comfortable for your shoulders, feel free to just place your hands on your shoulders. This is a lot easier. If you're comfortable with that, coming into eagle arms. And as we inhale, looking up, raising our elbows and moving our palms or our fingers away from our face. As we exhale, drawing forward, rounding the spine, looking towards the belly button. Inhale, let's repeat that, lifting the shoulders up, moving the fingertips and the palms away from your face as best as you can, opening up those shoulder blades, and exhaling, rounding the back, drawing the belly button towards the spine, and looking down. One more time like that. Opening up the shoulders, looking up, and exhaling, rounding the spine, looking towards the belly button. Release your arms, inhale them up over your head, look up, and on your exhale, let's cross them the other way now. So your left elbow comes underneath your right elbow. You cross your arms at that point and try to get your fingers to touch each other. If this is not comfortable, again, put your hands on your shoulder blades. Working on flexing and extending the spine in this configuration. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, rounding the spine. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, looking towards your belly button, rounding the spine. On our final inhale here, raising those elbows as high as is comfortable, moving your hands and your fingertips away from your face, and exhale, rounding in. Inhale, both arms up to the sky now, keeping your sit bones grounded. Fold forward with your upper body, placing both palms flat on the ground in front of you and rounding your back. Dropping your head, letting it feel heavy. On your next inhale, rolling over your knees and coming into a tabletop position in the center of your mat. Now this is a very foundational pose, so we want to make sure we get the alignment correct. Beginning with your feet, untucking your toes, your feet are flat on the ground, your knees draw a straight line underneath your hips, your wrists are in a straight line underneath your shoulders, your fingers are spread, and your index fingers are parallel with the long edges of your mat. Putting a little bit of pressure into your hands now, rounding your upper back just slightly, as if you're pushing your shoulder blades away from you. This is tabletop position. From here we're going to start doing some cat-cows. So on your next inhale, arching your lower back, sending your hips slightly back if necessary and looking up. On your exhale, rounding your upper back, sucking your belly button in and looking towards your spine, keeping your arms straight. Inhale, look up, and exhale, press into those hands, round into your upper back, suck your belly button in, and tuck your tailbone underneath you. One more time like that. Inhale, looking up, slight arch in that lower back, and exhale, protecting our spines here by engaging our lower abdominal, sucking our belly button towards the spine, and slightly tucking your tailbone underneath you. Inhale, come back to a neutral position, feeling the effects of that on your body, making sure your alignment is true in tabletop position. Tuck your toes underneath you now, and on your next inhale, you're going to extend your right leg in a straight line behind you, your toes pointing toward the ground, contracting your glutes, contracting your thighs, sending energy out your heel. Now raising your opposite arm, your left arm, in front of you, your thumb pointed toward the sky, drawing a nice straight line from your heel to your fingertips. And on your next exhale, drawing into a tight little ball, connecting your knee to your elbow. Inhale, extending out nice and long, strong in your right hand, strong in your core, and exhale, nice and slowly, touching your knee to your elbow. One last time. Inhale, expand, and exhale, contract. Tight little ball, knee to elbow, coming back to tabletop position. Stabilizing yourself here, making sure of your foundations, strong in your fingers, strong in your hands. On your next inhale, extending your left leg behind you, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the quads, squeezing the thighs, toes pointed toward the ground, sending energy out of your heel. And inhale, raise your right arm out in front of you, your thumb pointing toward the sky. Nice long straight line from your heel to your fingertips. Inhale here. And on your exhale, using your core nice and controlled, draw into a tight little ball, touching your knee to your elbow. Inhale, expand. And exhale, draw into a tight little ball. One last time. Inhale, expand, thumb towards the ceiling, toes towards the ground. And exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, returning to a tabletop position. Your toes tucked underneath you. Move your hands a little bit further forward as we prepare to come into plank pose. Inhale, extend your right leg back, toes on the floor. Press into your upper back, rounding your back, pushing your shoulder blades away from you. And inhale your left foot to meet your right foot. Plank pose. Strong in your fingers, strong in your back, strong in your quads. Inhale, lower your knees to the ground. We're going to come to knees, chest, chin. Sending your hips slightly back. Inhaling here. And as you exhale, you're going to bend your elbows, keeping your elbows as close to your ribs as possible, lowering your chest between your hands and your chin to the ground. Knees, chest, chin. Very healthy for the curve of your spine. Push back through tabletop position and come into child's pose. Now there are a number of ways you can do child's pose depending on the flexibility of your hips. You can keep your knees just slightly apart with your feet together, your arms extended in front of you. If it's more comfortable for you, you can draw your knees together so you're in a slightly tighter configuration of this pose. Or if you're more flexible in the hips, feel free keeping the feet together to open up your knees almost as wide as your yoga mat so that your upper body rests between your legs. Your forehead touches the mat. If your forehead can't get to the mat, feel free to rest your forehead on blocks or books. Inhale, coming up into tabletop position. Your wrists underneath your shoulders, your fingers spread, your toes tucked underneath you. Slightly engaging your lower abdominal, sucking your belly button towards the spine. And now preparing for knees, chest, chin. Send your hips slightly back. And on your exhale, bend your elbows. Bring your chest between your hands and your chin to the floor. And as you inhale, roll yourself onto your tummy, untuck your toes, lying prone in your stomach. Your hands are alongside your chest. Gather yourself here before we come into baby cobra. drawing your elbows alongside your body, putting pressure into your hands. Inhale and raise your chest just slightly. We want to feel as if we're almost taking our elbows to touch behind our back, squeezing our shoulder blades together. And exhale, back down. Let's do that a couple more times. Take your hands a little wider of your mat, come up onto your fingertips, and inhale, raise just your chest off the ground. You should feel the tension here in your glutes, contracting your glutes, not in your lower back. Pressing your feet firmly on the ground, engaged in your quads, in your thighs. Exhale, come back down. Let's repeat that one more time. Low cobra. Inhale, raise your chest off the ground. Let's get into our neck a little bit here. As you inhale, look over your right shoulder. Exhale, head back to center. Inhale, looking over your left shoulder. Exhale, back to center and lower down. Take your hands alongside your chest again. Inhale, back to tabletop position. Your feet are tucked. As you inhale, arch into the lower back. Look up toward the sky, and then exhale, pressing your hips back to downward facing dog, your first downward dog of the practice. Pushing into your hands, transferring your weight towards your feet, towards your back, making your arms feel light, letting your head hang heavy. Getting your shoulders out of your ears by rotating your triceps in toward each other. Pedaling the feet as you wish, matching your movement with your breath. Inhale, bend the one knee, extend the opposite leg. Exhale, bend the other knee, extend the leg. Just working into our hamstrings here. Coming back into a central position. Now on your inhale, raise up onto your toes, and exhale, gently let your heels move down towards the floor. Let's repeat that a couple times. Inhale up onto your toes, and exhale your heels towards the floor. Last time like this, inhaling up onto your toes, exhaling your heels to the floor. Turning your feet towards the right, you can sink into your hips. Repeat on the other side. Just moving from side to side, getting into your hips in this position. Opening them up, feeling the state of your body in our first downward facing dog. And coming back to center. Our feet are hip distance apart and parallel. Slowly inhale your feet up towards your hands at the front of your mat. Exhale, fold forward. Weight into your toes, and as you inhale, halfway up, hands on your shins. Bend at your knees. Exhale, fold forward. And now very gently we're going to roll up the spine, keeping your knees bent. Inhaling, letting your arms and your head hang heavy. Rolling up the spine one vertebra at a time, looking at your belly button as you come up, your shoulders and your head, the last to stack. Now we're going to come into Tadasana, or mountain pose, another foundational pose. Very active, even though it just looks like we're standing normally at the front of our mat. We begin with our big toes touching, our heels slightly apart, drawing energy up our legs by pulling up our kneecaps, engaging the quads and the thighs, slightly tucking the tailbone, and drawing the lower belly towards the spine. Our fingers energized alongside our body. Let's inhale our shoulders up to our ears and exhale down. Inhale our shoulders up to our ears and exhale back and down, opening up the chest. And as we exhale, rounding the shoulders forward and slowly starting to fold yourself all the way down, your hands towards your feet, keeping your legs nice and straight, or bending at the knees if that's more comfortable for you. Grab your elbows with your opposite arm into a ragdoll position, just letting your spine hang here. If it feels good in your body, rotating to the left and then to the right, gently rocking from side to side, feeling into the backs of your legs, feeling into your back body. Just hanging here. Very good pose for relaxing, for calming the nervous system as we lower our head below our heart. Now bend at the knees. Place your fingertips on the ground, and as you inhale, slowly rolling yourself up to a standing position, stacking one vertebra on top of the other, letting your head and your arms hang heavy. Finally rolling your shoulders back, your head up, your chin parallel to the ground, your fingers energized alongside your body, squeezing our glutes, squeezing our thighs, tucking our tailbone. And now doing some work into our toes. So lifting our toes, working to separate the toes one from the other, creating a little bit of space and placing them back down on the mat. Once again, inhaling the toes off the mat, energizing them. We do a lot of work in our feet and placing them back on the mat. Trying, if you can, to grip the floor beneath you, to grip the mat beneath you with your toes. Inhaling, lifting them up, and exhaling, placing them back down. Now we're going to do a little bit of rocking forward and back, just feeling into the different points of our feet, rocking forward onto the balls of our feet, rocking back into the heels. Don't worry, you won't fall. And if you do, that's okay. And now let's rock from side to side. So rocking onto the edge of your left foot, rocking over onto the edge of your right foot, playing with the boundaries of your feet, the four corners of your feet. Into Tadasana mountain pose, big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Draw energy up through the balls of your big toes, activating the quads, the glutes, tucking your tailbone, sucking your lower belly in towards your spine, rotating your shoulders back and down and energizing your fingers alongside your body. Mountain pose, your chin parallel to the ground. As you inhale, raising your arms up to the sky, looking up towards your hand, and as you exhale, folding forward from the hips, keeping the legs straight or bending them if that's more comfortable in your body, placing your fingertips, your hands on the ground in front of you. Inhale here halfway up, so hands to your shins or your thighs, straightening that back, and exhaling, folding forward, weight out of the heels into the toes. Let's try that one more time. Inhale halfway up, straight back, looking forward, your hands on your shins or your thighs. Now exhale, bend at the knees, place your hands flat on the ground in front of you. Inhale, step your right foot back, preparing for plank pose, pressing into your upper back, pressing your shoulder blades away. Inhale your left foot to meet your right foot. Plank pose. Now inhale your knees to the ground, coming forward into knees, chest, chin. Exhaling, bending the elbows alongside your body, bringing your chest between your hands and your chin to the floor. And as you inhale, pushing into the toes, flattening your body out. Hands alongside the chest. And we're going to inhale here into a low cobra. Pressing into your hands, drawing your elbows back and towards each other. And now try and lift your hands off of the ground. See if you can maintain this position when there's no weight in your hands. The work coming in your legs, pressing your feet into the mat beneath you, activating in your quads and your glutes. Exhale, lower back down. Now take your arms alongside your body, your palms facing the sky. We're going to come into locust pose. So inhale here, lifting your chest off the mat, looking forward and raising both arms up alongside your body. Squeezing your shoulder blades together, opening up your chest. Inhale, come a little bit higher, and exhale, down. Bring your hands alongside your chest. Inhale, up through tabletop position. Tuck your toes, and exhale your hips back into downward facing dog. I always like to pedal my feet just a little bit as I come into downward facing dog. Now inhale, bend your knees and come up onto your toes. Taking your gaze, looking through the space created by your legs. Sending our bum high into the sky, and then exhaling our heels down towards the ground. Creating length in the legs, length in the back, pressing out of the hands, shoulders out of the ears, rotating the triceps towards each other. On our next inhale, lower your knees to the ground. Knees, chest, chin. Inhale, the hips slightly back. And as you exhale, bring the chest between the hands, the chin to the ground. And inhale, press through your toes, flatten out onto your belly. Hands alongside your chest, squeezing your shoulder blades together. As you inhale, coming into cobra pose. And exhale, press yourself back through tabletop position into child's pose. Your one big toe just slightly over your other big toe. Resting your upper body on your thighs or between your thighs. Your arms are extended out in front of you, though I like to take my arms and extend them back alongside my body. This allows my shoulders and my upper back just to release a little bit more. I feel more of the weight into my forehead, making that connection with the earth. And just take some nice, big, deep breaths here. This is an awesome resting pose. If at any point during any practice you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling tired, come into this position. As you breathe, you should feel your back expand, sending that energy into your lower back, into your upper back, feeling it broaden, creating some space. Inhaling your arms back out in front of you, come to a tabletop position, tuck your toes, stabilize through your hands, and exhale your hips back and up into downward facing dog. Drawing your left foot into the center of your mat, inhale your right leg up, driving through your heel, your toes pointed toward the ground. And as you exhale, draw your knee towards your nose and step your foot alongside your right hand. If you struggle to step your foot to your right hand, feel free to grab your leg, to grab your foot and move it into position. Lowering your left knee to the ground, keeping your toes tucked, engaging in the quads, engaging in the glute, slightly tucking your tailbone. Place your left hand flat on the ground and inhale your right arm up to the right side and look up towards your right hand, drawing as straight a line as possible from your left hand to your right hand. If it's comfortable in your body, rotating in that right shoulder and bringing your right arm over your right ear. And exhaling your right hand down, framing your front foot with both hands, coming up into your fingertips, tucking your toes of your back leg and lifting your knee off the ground. So coming here into a modified high lunge position, taking your left hand onto your right knee, then your right hand onto your left hand, and pressing yourself up, inhaling your body into a straight line, and letting gravity do the work as your hips drop towards your mat, towards the ground. Steadying yourself here by isometrically dragging your front right foot towards your back left foot. Folding forward with the upper body, framing the front foot with both hands. Inhaling or walking your right foot back to meet your left foot into plank pose. Coming now into a side plank variation, dropping your right knee to the ground, flattening your left foot so that it faces your left side. Move your right hand slightly forward into the center of your mat, and as you inhale, open up your chest and raise your left arm to the sky. Really energizing through your fingertips, drawing a straight line from your bottom wrist to your top wrist, extending out of that left shoulder blade and looking up towards your fingers. If that's not comfortable, you can look down towards the ground. Exhaling your left hand to meet your right hand and coming back into your plank position. Let's do that on the other side now. So lowering your left knee to the ground, angling your right foot so that it faces the right side of your room or your mat. Take your left hand slightly forward in front of you towards the center of the mat where it's comfortable, and inhale, open up your chest, raise your right arm to the sky, extending out of that right shoulder blade, making your body nice and big, looking up towards your right fingertips. Stable in your legs by contracting your glutes, contracting your thighs, getting that tight tailbone tucked, and drawing your belly button towards your spine, protecting the muscles of the lower back. And exhale your right hand to meet your left hand. Come back into a plank position, pressing into your hands, slightly rounding in your upper back, pressing your shoulder blades away. Inhale your knees to the ground and coming into knees, chest, chin, bending the elbows, lowering the chest between the hands, chin to the ground. And on your inhale, pressing through the toes, coming forward onto your belly. Hands alongside your chest. See if you can inhale into a slightly higher cobra now, looking up toward the sky, and as you exhale, come through tabletop position, sending your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let's repeat all that on the other side. So inhaling your left leg up, driving through the heel, your toes pointed toward the ground, and exhale, your knee coming towards your nose and placing your left foot next to your left hand. Lowering your right knee to the ground, stabilizing yourself here, isometrically drawing your feet towards each other, Placing the right hand down and inhaling the left arm up. Looking up towards the left arm. Trying as best as you can not to sink into that right shoulder. Pressing into that right hand, pressing out of that shoulder, drawing your shoulder down your back. And if it's comfortable in your body, rotating that left shoulder now, leading with your pinky finger, and bringing your left arm alongside your left ear. So there should be a straight line between your left fingertips and your knee that's down on the ground, your right knee. Inhale here and exhale your left hand to frame your left foot. Raise up onto your fingertips, put pressure into your back foot. Engage the quads, the glutes, the lower abdominals, and raise that back knee off the ground. Working our way towards a high lunge. Your left hand on your left knee. Your right hand on your left hand. Keeping your legs exactly as they are. Inhale your upper body straight. Very active, very strong into our legs, driving that back right heel towards the ground. Making sure that tailbone is nice and tucked. Settling in here for a few breaths, letting gravity drink your hips down, feeling that stretch into your right hip flexor, into your left groin, and exhale, hands down to frame the front foot. Inhale the left leg back to meet the right leg. Lower your knees to the ground, and exhale into a child's pose. Nice and calm, nice and relaxed. Just feeling into the effects of your practice so far. Very foundational practice. Very slow, very conscious, very intentional. The goal here in this class is to bring our awareness to the different parts of our body and to match the movement with the breath. If at any point you lose control of your breath, you know that you've come too far in a pose. That's when you should back out. That's when you should come into child's pose or come into a simpler version of the pose. The ego seldom serves us in the yoga practice. I've hurt myself far too many times, trust me. Inhale, rolling up your spine, bringing your knees together. Now let's make fists with our hands and roll out our wrists. Just release any of the tension that we built up during the practice. Rolling your fists in one direction, rolling them in the other direction. Keeping your elbows kind of close in towards each other. And then inhaling, coming into tabletop position. We're going to do thread the needle now. A stretch for our shoulders. Take the left hand and walk it slightly up your mat. Inhale and exhale your right arm underneath your left armpit. Feel free to move your left hand as you need to support yourself. Your hips are stacked up over your knees and you're stretching here into your right shoulder. So stay here just for a couple breaths, breathing into that right shoulder, giving it a nice release after all the work we've done today. Putting pressure into your left hand, inhale, back up into a tabletop position. Let's reverse that movement on the other side. So ever so slightly walking your right fingertips forward. Inhale and exhale your left arm underneath your right armpit, threading the needle. Moving your left hand in line with your face, coming up onto your fingertips if you need to support yourself in this position. It's kind of a strange configuration. It often feels a little bit odd. Breathing in here and breathing out. Putting pressure into your right hand, bringing yourself back up into a tabletop position. Exhale, sitting back onto your heels. And then scoot over onto your left hip. Bring your feet out from underneath you and extend your legs in front of you. Now bend your knees, your feet flat on the floor. Take your arms underneath your knees and grab hold of your elbows and rest your forehead on your knees. We're going to work our way into a regressed version of straight-legged forward fold. A nice stretch for our hamstrings, a nice stretch for our lower back. Inhaling and exhaling here at your own pace. And then as you're ready, lifting your toes off the ground and use your heels to walk your legs further forward, but making sure always to keep the connection between your lower belly and your thighs and your forehead on your knees. That connection between our lower belly and our thighs is how we know that our lower back is safe, that we're protecting our spine. Either settling in here, there's no need to go any further than you're able. However far you are is perfect enough. Just settling into this pose, taking nice, slow, deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Another excellent restorative pose for calming the nervous system, for bringing that sense of relaxation into the body as we begin to work our way through a cool down now towards Shavasana, our final resting pose. Taking ourselves now into seated staff pose. So your hands alongside your hips, your legs straight, flat on the floor. Flex your toes. This is a very active pose. It may look simple or easy, but if we do it right, it's quite challenging. So opening up at the chest here, drawing the shoulders back and down, flexing into the quads, and pressing into the hands, getting a nice straight line in your back. A setup for Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. On your next inhale, with a straight back, raise both arms up to the sky as best you can. And on your exhale, taking your tailbone out and back, folding forward. Taking your hands either to the tops of your thighs or to your shins, just below your knees, to your ankles if that's comfortable for you. And finally, if you're able to your toes. The goal in this pose is to keep a straight lower back. So as we inhale, we send our tailbone out and back, and we extend in our lower back, and from that position, we fold slightly forward. This pose is not about gunning it and trying to reach as far as we can, wrap our wrists around our feet. The goal here is to maintain a straight lower back as we fold forward. Again, looking for that connection between the tops of your thighs and your lower belly. Exhale, go slightly deeper, and on your next inhale, round up your lower back. Bringing your feet in now for cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. I like to almost grab my feet like I'm opening up the pages of a book. Inhale with a straight lower back, and exhale, fall slightly forward. The same principle as the seated forward fold. We want to keep a nice straight lower back in this configuration of the pose. So inhale, extending in the lower back, and exhale, folding forward just slightly without rounding the back. If it helps you, you can take your elbows to the insides of your legs, either your thighs or your shins, and you can depress them and use the power in your arms to separate your legs a little bit more. You'll feel this in the inner lines of your leg and your groins. And inhale, coming back up. Now we're going to move into a slightly different variation of this pose. So our legs remain very much the same, the soles of our feet touching, but let's take our feet a little bit further in front of us, so you make a nice diamond shape in front of you. Grabbing the ankles, grabbing the feet, inhaling here with a flat back, and exhaling as far forward as you can while maintaining that flat back, and from that position, rounding your back and folding forward. So this configuration of the butterfly pose is far less about getting into our groins and our legs as it is about providing our back with some release. So this should feel very good, very restful. Ultimately, the goal here, to move your forehead towards touching your feet. Inhale back up. Use your hands to bring your knees back to the center. Your knees are bent, your feet are flat on the floor. And slowly lower yourself down onto your back. Take this time here to feel into your body. Check in, make sure you're still breathing nice and consistently in and out through your nose. Walking your feet a little bit closer towards your bum, almost so that your fingers can touch your heels. We're going to come into a bridge pose, so your arms and your hands alongside your body. Press into your hands. Tuck your tailbone underneath you so that you feel your lower back in contact with the ground. And from that position, we inhale our hips up toward the sky. Pressing into our feet, making sure our knees do not flop outward, but they stay nice and parallel. If it's comfortable in your body, try and interlock your hands underneath you by bringing your shoulder blades underneath you and contracting them towards each other. Again, isometrically dragging your feet towards your head. So there's a lot of work going into your feet now, a lot of work into your hips as you push up. And you're almost trying to bring your chest toward your chin, not by lowering your chin toward your chest. We need to maintain the healthy curve in the neck, so we're looking straight up, our chin towards the sky. Now as we come out, unlock the fingers, come up onto your toes, and very slowly, very carefully, roll down the spine vertebra by vertebra. Bringing both knees into the chest now. Wrap your arms around your knees and rock side to side, giving a nice massage to your lower back. That should feel like a good release after the flexion from the bridge. Taking a knee in each hand and making circles with your knees. Circles in one direction, then circles in the other. Coming now into happy baby. So extending your left hand on the inside of your left knee and grabbing your left foot on the outside of the left foot. Doing the same on the right side. So the soles of our feet are flat, almost like serving trays. We want to make sure here that our lower back is in contact with the ground. Again, that's how we keep our lower back safe. Making sure our lower back is in contact with the ground. Inhale, and as we exhale, we try and draw our knees down towards the outside of our shoulders. If it's fun for you, rocking from side to side. Feeling the stretch in your groin, in your hips. And exhale, lower your feet back down. Inhaling your right knee over your left knee, scooting your hips to the right side of your mat, and letting your legs drop over to the left side to our final spinal twist of the practice. Making sure our right shoulder is in contact with the ground. As we look over the right shoulder, if that's comfortable for your neck. If you're finding that your right shoulder is off of the ground, perhaps you're trying too hard to get your knees to touch the ground on the other side. What's far more important is to keep the shoulder in contact with the ground here. So if you have a prop, a block, a book, a pillow, feel free to put that under your knees to support you there. Inhale using your left hand to bring your knees and your legs back to center. Let's uncross your legs and recross them the other way. So inhaling your left knee over your right knee, scooting your hips over to the left side of your mat and letting your legs fall over to the right. Extending your arms into a T shape alongside your body. Again, making sure here that your left shoulder blade is in contact with the ground. And just start to unwind now. If you haven't already closed your eyes, feel free to do so here. And on your next inhale, bring your legs back up to center. Feet flat on the floor, knees bent. And as we exhale, let's take one leg out in front of us, followed by the other leg out in front of us. Our feet about as wide as our yoga mat. Make any final movements here, any final fidgets, before relaxing completely in stillness. Let go of the focus on your breath and just rest. Now we're going to bring our awareness back into our bodies, focusing on those parts of our bodies touching the ground, beginning with the heels. Draw your attention there, feeling your heels resting on the ground, slowly working your way up through your calves, into the backs of your legs, to the bones of your butt lying on the ground, and moving your focus then into the backs of your hands and your knuckles, into your elbows, your shoulder blades, now into the back of your head. And from here, bringing our awareness, bringing our attention to the sounds around us, starting first with the sounds further away. Maybe the sounds of birds in the trees, or cars going by. And slowly zoning in a little closer to you. Sounds in your apartment, in your house, neighbors next door. Finally focusing on the sound of your breath. Beginning to bring ourselves back into the present moment through the breath. Deepening the breath here. And then very gently bringing some life into your fingertips, into your toes, circling your wrists, circling your ankles, reaching your arms up overhead and behind you, taking a nice big stretch for your whole body, and exhaling, bending your knees, placing your feet flat on the floor, and rolling over onto your right side into the fetal position. Feeling free to rest here for some time, reflecting on your yoga practice. And when you're ready, with your eyes closed, gently bring yourself to a cross-legged position, sitting at the front of your mat. Take your hands together into a prayer position. Thumbs at your third eye center. Clear in what we think. Thumbs to your mouth. Clear in what we say. Thumbs to your heart. Clear in what we do. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. If you enjoyed that class, please like and share the video, subscribe on YouTube and follow on Facebook and Instagram.